What is up, and welcome back to the channel. So we're back here Sunday after being down in Atchison, and we're going to be working on the 12 valve. So we basically think we've got everything we really need to get it set in the truck, which is going to be the goal for the day, is getting it in. So Andy is cleaning up the oil pan right now, getting all the junk off of it. I'm not patient enough for the King Speed right now. It's 4 weeks out minimum, and that $800 to be put towards something else. So we're scrubbing this thing clean with Purple Power and a Brillo pad, and I'm gonna scrape the gasket off, and then we're gonna throw it on after we put the pickup tube on. So all the oil pan stuff will go on, rear main will go on, and we're probably gonna try and get the trans out and bolt the trans up to it, and then we'll set it in. So stay with us today. Should be a lot of fun. More first gen stuff to do. We got all the trucks outside, and yeah, enjoy it. Alright guys, so this is what we're working on right now. The oil pan, we're good to go on that, but I went ahead and put the pickup tube, and just for my recollection, I did put the gasket on there. So Gavin, if you are watching this, you put the gasket on, don't worry. But we got that on. Andy is fitting this freeze plug. Basically with that front Keating freeze plug, it doesn't fully seat because of where the oil cooler casting is basically. So you can either file the freeze plug a little bit, or you could file the block just a tad right here.
Or you can do both.
Or you can do a little bit of both. I mean, he's got it really close. I'm waiting on the oil pan kind of drain out a little bit more, and then I'm gonna spray a little bit more of the brake clean in here and wipe it out one last time, get our gasket ready and throw that on, and then we'll move on to our rear main. And yeah, we're just gonna keep on hacking away at what we're doing. I'll set you guys up. I got you on the stand now, put you on time lapse, and stand by. Alright, so you guys were seeing in the time lapse, we oil pans on with the pickup tube. The rear main is installed and the cover, all that stuff is put on. So we're good as far as that goes. We flipped the engine over. We went ahead and got the trans out of the passenger side of the truck. Pulled the pan to check everything because I was a little bit worried about what it was going to look like, because on certain stuff, obviously it was sitting in the truck, got some humidity or something, and a little bit of rust developed on like input and output shaft just on the very ends. So I wasn't worried about the valve body because I'm worried about everything, it seems like, but it's good to go. So my prized possession here should be just fine. So we're going to see how this thing's gonna mount up and all that good stuff. And I don't know, are we gonna attempt to set them both in the truck or what?
Yeah.
All right, so that's the plan as of now, and try and set them both in the truck. Okay, so now we're getting to some of the fun part, I guess you could say. So this is a 47 RE built by Logan Built. This trans is gonna be good for all I'm gonna make. It's got a trans brake valve body, full manual valve body, or trans brake in the full manual valve body, I should say. It was a 4-wheel drive trans. He put the 2-wheel drive housing on here for me, and got me one where I can use my factory first gen speedo sensor, and that's freaking awesome. I'm very pumped. If you guys don't follow Logan Yelton at Logan Built, you definitely should. He has a badass first gen race truck. But we've got our adapter plate, because you have to have a second gen adapter plate to mate these together, if you get my drift. So Andy's putting some purple power on this one right now. We're gonna scrub it and then power wash it off, and eventually, I mean, it'll probably get painted along with the engine and whatnot. So, and let that soak on there. I'll get my brush and scrub on it, and then we'll mate these things together and see how they look. So luckily enough, the Interstate McBee plug kit that I bought actually came with the dowels, or the new dowels for the engine to adapter plate and on the adapter plate, and I am missing one. So we're gonna go ahead and put this missing one in there. So I've got all of them. Might make my life easier whenever putting the trans on or whatever, or whenever I have to pull it. So one thing that we have discovered that I do not have, that I did not even think about, or maybe I bought it at one point in time and can't find it, I don't know. I must not have them. But I don't have flex plate bolts, and I don't have converter bolts. So, and I can't really, we can't find all the hardware for like putting the trans on and all that stuff. So I don't know what I did with it, but I'm just gonna buy all new hardware and not go through the headache of it anymore. So we're gonna do what we can here and maybe set it in and put the head on it and torque the head down. So we'll see where we get to today. Okay, so after a bit of a break, I went down to Joplin, and I'm back now. But I found some stuff in the meantime. It's good. Me and Andy got a lot of progress done. The head is on and torqued down. Yes, these pedestals are not milled. My Keating cover is machined to fit them without them being milled. One day down the road, if I buy some milled ones, that's fine and dandy, but I don't need them right now. This works just fine. The only thing that I did, or one of the big things I did find that I need to do, is I finally found all the oil pan bolts. I had found like 8 of them, and I was just confused. But it turns out I got them out of this bag that I forgot about that was sitting back here on the shelf that I told myself I would remember that they're here, but I forgot. So all my oil pan bolts are right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all those in. And then I need to look and see what other stuff I got for bolts back here, because to my knowledge, I did not have the bolts to bolt the trans to the block or the adapter plate or anything like that. So I'm gonna see if I've got any of that stuff. If not, I'm still gonna try and set the engine in the truck tonight and just set it in there and just look at it basically, and it'll help me set ride height for sure. All right, and before you guys ask any questions, like, yes, I didn't put the converter in or the fly, like, I didn't put any of that stuff in, or I'm not putting it in right now for a reason. I'm going to try and get everything bolted up and the trans bolted up to set it in the truck so I can measure for drive shaft lengths, because I don't even have the ball rolling on that yet, and
so far from what I've learned about this whole process is, if you can get ahead or work towards something while you're waiting on other stuff, like if you're waiting on parts, and you can get other stuff pre-planned and figured out and just like know what you're gonna do, you will be done so much faster. And I've really learned that. So hopefully that might help you guys some. I don't know, I might just be spitballing with that, but it would have really helped me if I would have done that. So like right now I'm waiting on my oil pump to put the front cover on and like button everything up. So why not throw all this stuff together? And oh, and I'm waiting on my ARP fasteners for all back here. So I've got the original stuff. I'm just gonna bolt it up, set it in the truck, measure, and like all that stuff. And that will get me a little bit farther ahead than where I'm at right now. So progress is progress, and that's what I'm going for. So let's go ahead and put this stuff on, and then eventually let's try and get it off this stand and onto the cherry picker and in the truck. Let's do it. So it's the next day, and after lots and lots of cussing and hitting the absolute crap out of this firewall and like the pinch weld up in there, I got it to fit. Honestly, I'm not sure I would have to do a whole lot if I was putting the trans in separate, but you can see this, my coolant bypass is going to be really tight. So I think the difference is
And like my truck versus like Evan and Derek's that have a 47 in there, or they've got the tall frame trucks, so they don't really have this issue because they got the bigger trans tunnel and all that. But we managed, and we went ahead and threw the new Steed Speed on there, just for shits and giggles really, and we threw the pump on and all the shiny stuff on just to kind of sit here and look at it after it hasn't the engine has not sat in this truck for two-ish years, maybe a little more, so it's a good sight. We got it in here and the trans bolted to it so I can measure some drive shaft length and figure out what I'm going to do there, which it shouldn't be that long, so that'll be good. But you can see where the jack's holding the trans up right there, and then the old carrier bearing, which I just got to unbolt. So it'll all work out well. I just got to finish lowering the truck, and now that we got some weight in here, it'll be much easier to mess with these springs up front. So I'll end up probably working on that the rest of the week and getting the truck to the height that I want it now that the engine's in. But that is where we're at by the end of the night. Okay, I wanted to give you one last look of what this thing looks like sitting in the engine bay. It is awesome. Like I said earlier, I mean, it's been 2 years. I'm extremely excited because it's a huge just milestone. I got it in there, measured some stuff, got a good idea of what I'm working with, but boy does it just make me happy to see this. And some of you guys that have been following specifically for the Shorty for a long time have probably been waiting for this as well. So yes, I liked it. There are still components that need paint and all that, but just seeing this makes it much more surreal. I'm very excited. In the spirit of that, I don't know if you guys can see the lean we got going on here, but we lowered the rear down to where I want it. It's only running 2 leafs in the rear,